Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Groundbreaker podcast series. My name is Awori Diongo. Now, technology is the present and the future. There's no surviving without technology in any industry today. If not now, in the next few years, every industry is going to be fully dependent on technology. And I'm talking about every industry. Even today, look at sectors such as agriculture. There's technology in agriculture, which is our conversation today as we talk to our guest on the Groundbreaker podcast series, George Miner, who started an innovative platform that he calls Shamba Records. What does Shamba Records do? Let's find out. Hello, George.
Hello, well,
Thank you for joining us on the Groundbreaker today.
thank you so much and thank you for having me.
Right, when I
Yeah.
heard about Shamba Records, of course, I have been wondering what this is all about. Besides just reading a bit about it and doing a few researches here and there, I feel like it should come from the horse's mouth. Tell us about Shamba Records.
Thank you so much, Awa. And good to hear also you're also a fan of Shamba Records. And of course, there's a lot more what we do as a company. And the first role as a company is to be able to bridge the digital gap in Africa's agricultural market. And so far, we've been able to impact more than 30,000 farmers here in Kenya, whereby we are helping them access market, as well as access credit, as well as access different kind of services, such as farm inputs, advisory, extension services. So as a company, we're doing a whole broad and array of services just to be able to uplift the lives of these farmers. And the most important thing is, as you mentioned, is that technology is the enabler of our work and also helping us.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And I always love a good story. A good story is a beautiful story. And a beautiful story has a foundation and an inspiration behind it. What is it that inspired Shamba Records' inception?
I think everything has a story behind it, and same to Shamba Records. And for me, being the founder of Shamba Records, it's very, very kind of intimate because I come from a family of farmers.
Mm,
And we used to do a lot of farming. We used to do a lot of coffee farming. We used to do a lot of dairy
not
farming.
anymore?
We're still doing. I'm a farmer by then.
Okay. Okay.
I'm still a farmer. I'm still a farmer. But I think my formative years or my foundation
Right.
years is brings plays a big role in
Right.
terms of now founding Shamba Records. Because growing up, I could see the challenges that are there. You could do your coffee farming, and then you take your coffee farming maybe to the cooperative, to the aggregator, and then you take it maybe like in March, and you have to wait for 5 months or 6 months
Mm,
without the pay. And same thing with dairy farming. You produce now, but the pay doesn't come like
mhm,
the end of the month. Can take even 5 months.
mm.
And remember, as a farmer, you need to sustain yourself. You need to take your kids to school. You need to grow your business. So there was all those challenges, and so that's what made me thought, how can I be able now to solve them, or how can I be able to improve the lives of these deserving farmers?
Right. And
And
of course, I see that from your background, you are equally a deserving farmer who faced all these challenges. So tell me about these challenges at length, like on the ground,
Mhm.
the farmers that are not you, because not every farmer is a coffee farmer nor a dairy farmer. Generally, could you please explain what these challenges are, especially for smallholder farmers?
Yeah, very true. And for example, if you look not only in Kenya, but largely in Sub-Saharan Africa, we have different types of farmers or different types of value chain.
Right.
Like in Kenya, we are very famous, of course, of tea sector. We have also coffee,
Flowers.
flowers, that's horticulture.
Yeah.
You go to West Africa, they're very famous of cocoa farming.
Yeah.
And not only now, when you go out of the continent, when you go to other markets like South America, they're also very famous of also growing maybe like beef farming.
Right.
And you find that these farmers have the same common problems. Number one is access to capital. And beyond access to capital, there's also beyond to the right information. And then number three is also extension services. And what I mean by extension services, for you to grow maybe a crop or for you to do even fish farming, there are certain procedures or certain standards that you need to follow. And if you're a smallholder farmer and you don't have this access to this information or the guidelines, then becomes of a challenge whereby you cannot be able even to produce more, as well as you cannot be able to do and also grow and do your farming the proper way. Yeah.
Great. So now we can maybe now talk about once you discovered these challenges, of course, you experienced them yourself, and through research, you also figured out what the various farmers across Africa and globally are facing. What solutions came to mind, and what solutions did you come to develop that is today the Shamba Records?
So basically, what we did as Shamba Records, we did a lot of feasibility study, and we did this the whole of 2017. We had to do a lot of market study the different value chains that are there, from horticulture to cash crops to the fruit industry. And the common problems that we identified is farmers lack access to the right information. Number two, farmers lack capital. They cannot be able to be able to access capital to get the right seedlings, the inputs, the farm labor. And then number three, they lack market access. And for us as a company, we thought how could we be able to automate and also help these farmers. Number one, get capital and also get information. And the only thing that we could think about and also use was technology, because technology is able to deliver information, relay information.
Right.
Number two, technology is able now to get also data from the farmers. Because again, if you walk into a bank and you ask for a loan or credit, they will require your data. And if you don't have a relationship, let's say, for example, 6 months, they cannot be able to lend to you. So Shamba Records, we came in to change that. We provide a platform that's able now to collect data on a real-time basis. That's able to collect data from the farm level to the aggregation all the way to the market. And when you collect the data on the farm level, we're able to collect the bio data of the farmer, the economic data of the farmer, the production data of the farmer. And when we collect that data, we're able to use it on our credit scoring engine and connect them now to relevant maybe needs. And number one can be credit, number two can be extension services, number three can be now access to new markets, not only here, but also even globally.
Right.
Yes.
Please explain it to me, like a 2-year-old,
Yes.
what now the credits part is collecting. Did you say collecting credits?
Yeah, collecting data
Yeah.
so that we can use it on our credit scoring engine.
Yeah.
So on our platform, it has many data points. What I mean by data points, we're able now to collect the farmer bio data,
Right.
like the name, the age,
Yeah.
the location. We're able to get also the economic data. The economic data is like the farm size, the number of livestock.
Right.
And then number three, we're able to get the production data, like what's the farmer producing. For example, if I have a fish farm, how many fish am I bringing out every maybe season? If it's coffee, how many coffee kgs am I expected to get? So based on that data that you're able to get
Yeah.
on a real-time basis, we're able now to use it on our credit scoring engine and score these farmers and give and connect these farmers to credit. Because again, if you are a lender, if you're a bank and you need to lend to someone, they require your data. And farmers don't have that connection to the bank because most of them are right now unbanked. They don't have any bank accounts. So for us, we are bridging that gap. Not only on the financial sector, we are helping these farmers create a very good profile, moving them from an informal economy, which is cash based, but moving them to a more of a digital economy.
And I really like that
Yeah.
because even now I know when I go to Sharks,
Yeah.
there are farmers
Yes.
who haven't received access to your technology.
Yes.
And they're really in bad place because they're not able, since they don't have access to that money.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just hold off on a whole season because they can't afford the initial materials that they need to plant for that season. When we talk about it, as you've explained, is it what blockchain technology is?
blockchain is it's a very key technology to Shamba Records. It's a very important technology and plays a big part in Shamba Records.
Right.
And for me, maybe to put it maybe in a very simple way, as you
Layman's language.
yeah, as you said,
Two-year-old.
to a 2 year old, is that the production
Right.
or let's say the food industry,
Right.
the productions happen here in Africa. Like most of our tea is not consumed here. The coffee is not consumed here.
Kwanza, I've been told what we
Yeah.
consume here is reject.
Yeah,
Whether it's tea, whether it's
that's
coffee,
true.
whether it's flowers, we're not really getting the first grade. Yeah.
It's like the food factory is here.
Yeah.
The production happens here, but the consumption is not here. I'm not talking about East Africa alone. If you go to Ghana and ask anybody, even a kid who grow cocoa farm,
Yeah.
if they have taken a chocolate, nobody will tell you.
Right.
It's to be very rare. So what happens? The production is done in Africa, the growing of the food, but the consumption, it's in the global market. We're talking about EU, we're
Yeah.
talking about even China. And even the other day, I was reading an article whereby China is investing so much in avocado here because, again, we have very good soils.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So where blockchain comes in place is that when you go to those markets like EU, they have very high threshold or they have the very high standards of goods entering into their
Right.
market. And if the goods, for example, if the crops have used a particular kind of farm inputs that have side effects that can cause maybe
Right.
cancer, then when you export them to the EU market, they'll be rejected. So what happens? There needs to be a tool that can be able to trace the source of the goods, how the goods were made. Because again, remember, yes, it's farming, but how did you do the
What
actual
was the journey?
what was the journey?
Yeah.
What kind of inputs did you use? Was it organic? Again, if you there are some markets whereby they reject anything that's not organic. So blockchain comes in terms of helping now trace from the production how the goods are being produced
Yeah.
to how the goods are aggregated, and even after they aggregated, what's the quality? How was the quality done, all the way to the market, um, all the way to the market, or all the way to the distribution.
And how do you streamline your value chain and to a point where you're able to see the results of it as benefits?
When we talk about streamlining, for us, we see it as more of a social impact because this technology has been able now to create a very transparent supply chain. And when we mean a transparent supply chain, that means many people can be able to participate in this activity. For example, women and youth are able now even to earn more using now through our tool. And what I mean by that, traditionally, it's the women and the kids who used to farm, and the man of the house take all the cash after the payment. But now with this tool, we're bringing more youth and women to be able even to know how to farm and to be able now to access the market and to be able to know what are the requirements that I need in order for me to farm.
Right.
So this making sure that everybody now can be able now to earn even from the industry itself. Yeah.
Earlier on, you mentioned that, of course, the platform connects these farmers to financial institutions. What about in terms of aggregation centers and then measuring profitability out of what your platform is able to offer these farmers? Could we please talk about that?
Many farmers in the continent, and large in many emerging markets, they belong to farmer groups and also they belong to cooperatives.
Yeah.
And what we figured out is that we cannot just work with individual farmers. We also have to work with the cooperatives. And
Is it like you're working with cooperatives, you're reaching your farmers through the cooperatives, or both? You're
it's both.
individual farmers as well as cooperatives.
Yeah, so Shamba Records is very diverse. We don't
Okay.
discriminate.
Okay.
For us, the primary customer is the farmer.
That's good.
Yeah, whether you belong to a cooperative,
Yeah.
whether you're doing your own individual farming, we're able to accommodate you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for me to ask something here, recalling how we started this conversation with regards to like data collection and all that. Shamba Records, of course, is a technology platform. And when we hear technology, we're afraid of that because some of us are not educated. When you look at the smallholder farmers back there, they're not that educated. And at the sound of technology, they probably don't even know what that means at first mention. So, how are you engaging them? Do they have to have a smartphone? Do they do this on their own, or you handle everything for
I know everybody's always afraid of technology.
even me?
But change is the only constant thing in this world. You
True.
remember the days before M-Pesa,
Right.
but now can you survive without M-Pesa?
I cannot.
And that's the thing.
How can I?
And for us, that's the goal. We want farmers not to be able to survive without Shamba Records.
They shouldn't, right?
Yeah, they should. So for us, we localize our solution. What I mean by localizing our solution, we go to the last mile or we go to the farmer level.
Right.
We use very low touch technology on the farmer side. They can dial a USSD code. They can access our solution by a 2 SMS by sending a text. At the same time, for those farmers who have smartphones, they can be able to use smartphones as well.
Now that I'm more informed about Shamba Records,
Yeah.
and what you're doing is quite amazing
Thank
because
you.
it's helping our farmers. And why I'm saying this is because every time we hear that agriculture is the backbone of our
Of economy, yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
So we need to take this all over our country. I believe in charity begins at home.
Yeah.
Before even replicating it. I mean, it's okay. I understand about following a particular value chain, but I want to see a Manabu farmer using this technology and benefiting from it, right?
As I told you, Shamba Records, we have a lot of great vision, and in the pipeline is to be able now to expand
Right.
to the different value chains.
Absolutely.
And as we mentioned from the beginning, like we know the common problem of the farmer, access to capital, access to the right information, and also access to the market. So the solution how it's made is able to carry all this and provide a solution to those problems, and is able now to adapt to the different value chains that are there.
The energy, and where does that come from?
Yeah.
From the food that our farmers provide for us, and they toil. So anything for the farmers, completely 100% support. And that's why what you're doing is quite an amazing innovation. And because this is the groundbreaker series, we talk about the founder stories. What has been the most challenging experience during your founder's journey from 2017? What is it that you just look back at and you're like, wow? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I think doing business of owning a business, especially in this side of the world, it can be very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And number one, of course, everybody will put it up there. The lack of resources, the lack of funding. Uh, in Kenya, we don't have those facilities that you can easily get when you're maybe at an idea stage, or maybe you're just maybe trying to do a pilot. And so most of the time, the investment has to come from you,
Right.
and sometimes you have to borrow. You get, and this is something new. Nobody has ever done Shamba Records before and what. So the chances of failure are very high.
Very.
So it's a very scary journey on that. So this luck
That's
that
why some of us are sitting on ideas because we are scared of failing.
the chances of failure are very high, and you have so many. When people talk about sleepless night,
Right.
I've had them so many times because you're worried, man. You don't know, you don't know who will be your first customer.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest challenges. Number two is now having the right product market fit, because you can have the resources, but it's like trying to sell a Range Rover maybe somewhere, I don't know, maybe go to Ghana and then do a showroom of the latest, Lamborghini or Range Rover.
Right.
You see, you have also to have what you call the right market, product market fit. And for us, that's why we had a whole year just trying this. In fact, like we're on version 8 of Shamba Records, because the first version was not serving the needs of our customers. So we had to go and rebuild. And when you're rebuilding, you're incurring costs. There's a lot. You're losing time. You lose part of the people because again, yes, you start off many. Oh man, this idea is very fantastic. Halfway the line, people don't see the results.
They lose the vision.
They lose the vision. They ship out. So, so number one, of course, lack of resources to sustain the momentum. Number two is also the lack of right market product fit. If you don't have a product that's solving people's need, then you cannot be able to grow your business because you're not even be able to have customers. You have to be solving a need that's there in the market.
Right.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah.
Now, as we wind up, may I want to become as a startup founder? Is it bad? It's a good thing, right?
Let me tell you,
Yeah.
it's one of the most beautiful things.
Right. I see
Yeah.
that beauty. That's why I'm like, no,
No,
I cannot continue sitting behind the mic all my life.
yeah.
Tell me, if I wanted to, well, I do.
Mhm.
What do I need to know? What does it take?
Of course, I will say something that will sound like cliche. Of course, number one, passion.
Yeah. It's a total cliche, but
Yeah.
it comes out every time.
Reason being, if you love what you do and you're not expecting, if you can do it without getting a payment, that's the best thing that you ever and that's what you call passion. And
Yeah.
for me, like as I said, I'm very passionate about even farming and technology. So when you blend those together, you're able to do great things.
Great, and it's great hearing from you where you've come from. I'd like also to know where you're going. What are some of the future developments for Shamba Records? What do you have in store?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I think for us, as I told you, our vision is quite very broad. And not only now in terms of expansion, in terms of scaling our solution, but one thing that we have noticed along the way is the climate change effects. And for example, in some certain value chains, farmers have experienced loss amounting almost up to 15%. So as a company, we are very heavy also on climate change, and we're helping farmers with doing a lot of what you call agroforestry. And when they do agroforestry, they can be able now to earn from climate change. And how they earn is through something we call carbon credits.
Yeah.
So those through carbon credits is just being able to incentivize the farmer more. So it's not just opening farmer to this new like credit opportunity or loan opportunity or even market opportunity, but also is adding more incentives that can be more rewarding even when they use Shamba Records. Remember when I said Shamba Records should be the one-stop shop
Yeah.
that farmers cannot live without. So that's what we're gonna do, even on climate change, just trying to help them do a lot of climate smart farming, as well as out of that climate smart farming, they're gonna be able now to earn more incentive as well as increase their incomes.
Now, you've heard that if you want to have the best things in life, entrepreneurship is the way to go. So, why wait? Come on, develop those ideas, put them into action, do some research, and get started. This has been the Groundbreaker podcast series with me, Awardongo.